take a look at converting between the three different forms, just depending on what your preference is to graphing. So go ahead and make a tab. We'll pause the video and copy all that. Alright, so go ahead and make a tab. You're going to cut to the margin and then cut all the way down. Alright, so we're going to take a look at going from standard form to vertex form first. How do I go from standard form to vertex form? Well, what is vertex form? Vertex form is made out of a vertex. So obviously what you'd have to do is you'd have to find the vertex. And how do you find the vertex? You have to memorize this formula, but it's x equals negative b over 2a, and that's going to give you your h. Once you find your x value, plug it into your original equation to find your y value, which is going to give you k. So plug it in. So this is going to be example 1. So let's go ahead and do an example of that. So we have negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 21. Right? All you do to find the vertex is plug it into the formula. So write the formula down, x equals negative b over 2a. Now I'm going to write the same thing just with parentheses where the letters are. Then I'm going to circle what the letters are. So remember, the one with x squared is a, the one with x is b, and the one by itself is c. And now we just go plug it in. So I have b, so put the b value, which is 12. Then I have a, which is negative 2. And then go ahead and work that out. You're going to get 3. Now we're going to plug it back into your original equation to find y. So all you have to do with that is just take a calculator and write it out as you see it. So it's negative 2 parentheses. Again, I'm just going to put parentheses where I see an x. And then where I see x, I'm going to put the number 3. And plug it into a calculator. Type it out exactly as you see it. Negative 2, open parentheses, 3, close parentheses, squared, plus 12, open parentheses, 3, close parentheses, minus 21. Press enter. That's going to give me negative 3, which means my vertex is 3, negative 3. So now I have to write that out in vertex form. So that would be my last step actually. Rewrite that in vertex form, as in use that to write it in the formula. We are going to write out y equals, and I forgot to put a outside. So we're just going to plug it in. H is 3. And then my k is negative 3. I did forget to, vertex form has an a, always has an a outside the parentheses right there, and that's just the first number. So what's the first number? Negative 2. So I did forget to write that in. Vertex form always has the a outside the parentheses. Sometimes they're invisible. Alright, so now we're going to take a look from standard form to intercept form. This is a listening check. Underline vertex form. Rewrite in vertex form. Alright, so how do I get from standard form to intercept form? Well, all it is, you have to find the roots, which is also known as zeros, which is also known as solutions, which is also known as x-intercept. So 4 different ways of saying the same thing. So you have to know all these words because they can ask you any of those words. So first way is to factor. But we haven't done that yet, so there's a video coming soon on how to do that. So what I'm going to show you today is just how to plug it into your calculator. So when you have your calculator, you're going to hit your y equals button. Then you're going to hit your graph button. Then if you need to change your window, you're going to hit your window button. This is a listening check. Color in graph. Color in graph. And then after you fix your window, you will hit second calculate, which is like the trace button. And then you will hit 0, whatever number has the 0. Once that comes, it's going to say left side. So you're going to click on the left side of the 0 and hit enter. Then you're going to take your little cursor to the right side of the 0, hit enter, because it's telling you basically the 0 is between those 2 points, and then you'll press enter and it'll give you a number. Then you'll repeat that step again for the second 0, for your second intercept. So let's take a look at an example. So let's say you had negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 21. Same question we had on the example. Right, so we're going to use a calculator. So we're going to take a calculator. We're going to hit exactly those buttons. So we're going to go y equals. Right, if there's something there, clear it out. You're going to type in your equation just like you see it. Anytime you have fractions in parentheses. But aside from that, just type it in as you see it. Right, then you're going to hit graph. And I'm just going to write the notes on what we're doing. Type in the function. Then you're going to hit graph. It's going to graph it. Right. If you get an error, you're going to hit window and change your window. So this is how you see if you get an error, you just change your window. So you can change your window from like -100 to +100, -100 to +100. And then you can see it gives you a much wider screen. So I'm going to change it back to -10, 10. Usually that works. And then you hit graph again. And after that, you're going to hit second calculate, because what we want to do is calculate where it intercepts the x-axis. But there's no point of doing that because I can see that it does not intercept the x-axis. So if it doesn't intercept the x-axis, there's no zeros, or there's no x-intercepts, or there's no solutions, or there's no roots. So let me take a look at another example. Let's say I have -x² minus 6x minus 2. Listening check, put a box around example 3. Alright, so again, hit y equals, type in the function. There's something already declared. Then hit graph. Okay. Again, it doesn't have any roots. It doesn't cross the x-axis. So this one has no solutions, or no zeros, or no roots, or no x-intercepts, depending on the word they want to use. I'm going to make sure this one does. So y equals 2m² plus 2m minus 12. I just changed the letter because sometimes it's not always x, but it doesn't matter. Treat it as an x. Okay, so there's no letter m, just treat it as an x. Again, y equals, graph the function. You can see it has roots. It goes through the x-axis twice, so it has 2 roots, 2 solutions. Then you're going to hit second calculate, then hit 0. Then use the arrow to drag it to the left. You see that little stars on the left? Press enter. Drag it to the right, press enter. And it gives you a root. So my first one is -3. Then I'm going to do that same thing, but to the one on the right hand side. So I'm going to take my arrow. So second calculate, 0. Drag my arrow all the way to that side. Left hand side, press enter. Drag it to the right hand side, press enter. And then press enter again. So my other root is 2. So my roots are -3 and 2. And then after that, you're going to rewrite it in intercept form. So the final step is always to write it in the form that you want. I'm going to copy that down. So y equals, and then m minus, and then m minus. So now I'm just going to put in the numbers. So I have -3 and 2. Now those two negatives are going to make what? Positive. Alright, and just like before, I did forget to put the a outside. There's always an a outside in all the forms. There's always an a. So what is my a in this situation? It is 2. It's always the one with the square. So put -2. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at going backwards. So let's go from vertex form to standard form. And this is easy. All you have to do is just multiply it out. Let's take a look at an example. That will be example 5. Also, from intercept form to standard form is also the same thing. You just have to multiply it out. So get it into standard form, you just multiply it out for both. It doesn't matter which one it is. And that will be example 6. So let's look at vertex to standard. So we're going to copy down the one that we had before, and because I forgot the -2 earlier, I didn't put it in here. I'll put it in later, but put the -2 after the y equals. Alright, so multiplying out means x minus 3 twice. And I'm just going to multiply that out this side. So x times x is x². And then -3 times x is -3x. X times -3 is -3x. And -3 times 3 is positive. So write all that out. Don't forget that -3 on there. And remember, it's all times -2. Fix it in a second. I'm going to change that last line, so don't write that yet. Listening check, color in the box on the top right hand corner. Alright, so like I said, I'd forgotten the a, which was -2. So I'm going to put it in. And now, so I'm going to multiply my a into my parentheses before I subtract 3. So multiplying it out, I'm going to get -2x² plus 12x minus 18. Right, and then the -3. And then combining the -18 minus 3, I'm going to get -21, which makes sense because that's when I make an example 5 look back like example. Alright, so we're going to take a look at making example 4 into intercept form. So we're going to copy the question down, but remember I'd forgotten to write that 2 down. So write that 2 in front of the parentheses. I'm going to multiply those two parentheses out. So I'm going to do m plus 3 times m minus 2, m squared, then negative 2m, then 3m, then negative 6. Combine like terms, I'm going to get m squared plus m minus 6. And remember, there's a 2 outside. I'm just going to fix that in just a second. There's a 2 outside from the original question that I put that in. Alright, so now I multiply that out, you're going to get 2m squared plus 2m minus 12. Okay, which makes sense because that's what we started with in example 4. And so that's all there is to it. So going from standard to vertex, you find the vertex. Standard to intercept, you find the roots. Vertex and intercept to standard, you just multiply it out. Vertex to intercept or intercept to vertex, what you're going to do is convert it into standard form first and then go to wherever you need to go. So the biggest ones to remember is standard to vertex and standard to intercept. Everything else is just multiply it out. That's practice.